everything. Thank you everyone for joining us on this beautiful, beautiful day for this exciting announcement. I'm Christy James. I'm Chief of Staff for Representative Sarah Anthony, who's joining us today. Let's give it up for Sarah. All right. Well, to kick us off, we're going to have Mr. Jerry Swartz, longtime Lansing educator and labor leader. Jerry?
Let's give it up for Sarah one more time. Well, I was asked by Sarah to come up and just say a couple of comments, and I said that's very challenging for me to keep things to a couple of comments. But I think it was in 2002 she graduated from the school behind us. And I came to know her a few years before that through the school board and her work with student government here at the Everett School, and then her work with our legislature. She went on to be an intern and worked for us as a community under Representative Bauer, a champion, learning the ground game of all the stuff that's involved, and it's been a genuine pleasure as I finish my teaching career to watch her excel and rise. And the one thing that is significant and important in these times is Sarah's perpetually reaching across the aisle, trying to find a relationship where there isn't one, to develop opportunities for our community. And one of her first meetings as a representative, I choreographed, and we sat and had lunch with a Republican representative right here in Lansing, Julie Calley, to say, look, we need relationships across the aisle. And I've been told by both of these ladies that continuing, there is an effort, even though we don't always see it in the media. So that work is continuing. And I keep telling Sarah, I said, okay, so you'll be the first senator for our area. And then the governor would be after that, as we look up the road to opportunities. With a woman who's not afraid to walk boldly across the Capitol lawn, with friends, armed, to ensure that her safe arrival will occur. Somebody who's courageous enough to stand in the gap and talk about equity and diversity and inclusion of our most fragile members of our community. Somebody who's willing to stand in the gap and say equal pay for equal work, that we all deserve an equal shake. It's a genuine pleasure to be invited to speak here and commit money, time, and resources to your campaign, Sarah, and ultimately for the betterment of our region. Thank you for running. Thanks for stepping forward with courage. I look forward to seeing our development as we go forward. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Jerry. Up next, we have Mr. Oscar Castaneda from Action of Greater Lansing, grassroots organizer.
Hello, everybody. You took away my first line. That's the way I was supposed to start, saying that I'm a community organizer. That's okay. I'll repeat it anyway. I'm a community organizer. And because of the way I look and because of the way I speak, you probably already figured out that I'm an immigrant. And I claim that I'm part of the immigrant community in Lansing, and that to a certain level I represent them. And I am very happy to be here for the same reason that the person who was before me. Because when Sarah called me and asked me if I would be willing to be here, she was asking me she was asking me for a big favor. And then I was like, absolutely, yes, I can definitely do this. Now the question is why? Why I'm so happy to be here. And it's because I met Sarah before she was in public office, and I know that she has been always in grassroots, and she believes in the importance of grassroots work. And whenever we ask her for something before she was in office, she was always there for us, always. And when she decided to run for office, I was like, okay, that's nice. I like her. She's a nice person, and we want to support her. But also, as the person who was before me, after she took office, I was so impressed and surprised for the character that he has shown in the last 2 years, and how she knew how to be brave when it was necessary to be brave, and how she decided to fight when it was necessary to fight. We immigrants in Michigan, in Lansing, struggle to feel like we are represented. It's so difficult to sense that there's someone who is willing to speak up for us. That definitely changed since we have Sarah in public office. I really feel that I have a person who I can go to and ask for support, and I know that I'm going to be counting on it. And because of this, I'm very happy to be here, happy and proud to be here supporting Sarah's new campaign. And we will be fighting for her and making sure that she stays in office and she moves up. And yeah, somebody said governor. You know, we're about to have a woman running for president again. This office is going to be open in a few years also. So go Sarah and let's support Sarah. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Up next, we have someone from the Mikey 23 Foundation, Mr. Michael McKissick.
Thank you, everybody. You know, we're in extraordinary times, and we need an extraordinary leader. And I think that Sarah, well, let me rephrase that. I know that Sarah is one that we need in this particular time. Sarah started the Youth Advisory Council for the youth, and my daughter was a part of that. And Sarah knows that the youth are our future. And she wanted me to thank you because she's got admitted to Wiley College, where the great debate at. So Denzel Washington just donated $2 million last year for them. So congratulations to Wiley College. And so this is what you call leadership. My daughter wouldn't have gotten to that point without Sarah. So they need that little push. And one of the things that we as a community, we have to really, really, really listen to our youth. And one of the things that, and I'm gonna say this over and over, one of the things that Sarah did, we was at a town hall meeting, and when Sarah got time to speak, she said that we need to hear from the youth. Enough of the adults in the room talking, because a lot of times we don't have the answers, and we need to listen to the youth. And one of the biggest things that I really applaud her for is that listening to our youth is where it's at, because they are our future. And I just want to thank you very much for that. And one of the two things that she really, last year and this year, she really sponsored the bill, and that introduced two bills that's very important, right? One particular one is about lead abatement, right? Lead abatement in the blood of kids, right? So I'm a lead abatement contractor. I know the detriment that it caused kids at a young age. And even though that we think that's small, that's really big, because again, Mikey 23 is all about youth. And all about trying to make them to be the best that they can. And for those who don't know, my son Michael was murdered August 1st of 2015, and Sarah is a champion for the youth. And I want to thank you for the community and everybody that's part of Mikey 23 Foundation. And thank you very much, Sarah. Thank you.
Thank you. Definitely check out Mikey 23 Foundation. They've done such excellent work for the youth in our region, and we're so grateful. Please join me in welcoming local civil rights leader Emily Devendorf.
It is a pleasure to be here today, and I have been hoping for this, but absolutely respecting whatever Sarah wanted to do with her life. I have known Sarah since we both started out in the legislature as babies, as legislative aides to leaders that we respected and adored, who were also committed to civil rights, to advocating for communities most affected by discrimination. We have watched for decades as the same bills have come up and been turned down and come up and been turned down, whether that's pay equity, whether that is the Elliott Larson Civil Rights Act to protect LGBT and trans folks, whether that is all of the innumerable ways that we have found to try to disempower our Black, Indigenous communities of color by removing resources from our cities and our most struggling families in their times of need, by cutting education. Even when I met Sarah, when we were young, she looked and acted like a legislator. She was more poised than the rest of us. She thought before she spoke. She had it all together, and we all had to bring it up a notch. And when we see her now, telling it like it is, and when you make Sarah shed a tear, it is because she has had enough. It is because we have all waited long enough. But we have always waited long enough. It has always been too long for fairness and equity. It has always been time for equal pay. There has never been an okay time for racism, for homophobia. It has always been time for a black woman in the Michigan Senate. And it is damn sure time for a Sarah Anthony. So I am so grateful that Sarah is willing to do this now and ready. And good luck to any of the obstructionists in our Michigan Senate when we have our current state representative, but our soon-to-be Senator, Sarah Anthony, in our state Senate with the support of this community, all of these advocates, and the coalitions we are going to build behind her. Because there is no stopping from here. It is past time for the world that we are building. Thank you, Sarah.
It is time. It's time for Sarah Anthony. Almost. It's almost time. Up next for a very special introduction of our candidate, we have Janiyah and Jamise.
Hi, my name is Janiyah Anthony.
And my name is Jamise Anthony.
And we would like to introduce our wonderful Aunt Sarah Anthony.
Hello. Thank you all so much. Hello and welcome. This is beautiful. This looks like Lansing, doesn't it? This looks like Ingham County or Eaton County or Shiawassee. This looks like our mid-Michigan community. Thank you. Thank you to our friends, our families, supporters, and neighbors who are attending today's announcement. Whether you are here live or you are virtually attending with us, your presence means more than you could ever imagine. A special thank you to our outstanding speakers, Michael and Jerry, Oscar, Emily, and my mini-me's, Janiyah and Jamise. Thank you for being here. You know, it was not a coincidence that we selected these individuals to speak today. These are leaders who are rooted in our community, people who, like so many of you, are driven not by titles and accolades, but by the actual work in this community. It was also not a coincidence that we chose Everett High School in the heart of South Lansing. This school and this community gave me my roots and my wings. Educators like Mr. Billings and Ms. Hightower, Mr. Salice and Ms. Elliott, who saw endless possibilities in a kid like me, and who continue to serve students during these unprecedented times. Elders who would see me walking up and down these South Lansing streets and would hold my feet to the fire when I needed it, and taught me to never doubt my own potential. Parents, John and Rochelle, wave mama, wave daddy, yeah, who instilled the values of faith and hard work and service, saving every dime so that I could be the first in my family to attend and graduate from college. And finally, a community who told me that who much is given, much is required. A charge that said that every degree, every experience, every ounce of my passion and energy, I needed to bring that back home, back to Lansing, back to mid-Michigan. And that's why, after consulting and talking to men and women in every corner of mid-Michigan, I have decided to continue my service in the Capitol and run to become your next state senator. Now, this was not a decision I came to lightly. You know, 2020 took a toll on many of us. In fact, it shook many of us to the very core. Think about it, a global pandemic brought grief and loss, economic uncertainty and hardship. We watched as schools like Everett, Sexton, Eastern, all around the region struggled to provide students with a quality education, forced to stretch every penny and find creative ways to continue to keep our kids safe. We watched overworked nurses and doctors as hospitals reached capacity, wearing the PPE for the third day in a row. We saw parents become superhuman before our very eyes, suddenly becoming teachers, coaches, therapists, on top of their full-time jobs. And we watched them struggle to cover the high cost of childcare. We saw small businesses struggle to keep employees on payroll without going under themselves. Together, we stood in silent protest as our children and neighbors suffered from violence and trauma. We marched in the scorching sun, demanding police reform and an end to gun violence. Last year, we buried loved ones. Folks like Jack Davis and Eva Evans, Olivia Letts, Martha Bibbs, Pastor Ford, Pastor Jesse Brown. This community lost pioneers, shoulders that I myself stand on. We honor their legacy today. We build on that legacy today. You would think, after all that grief, all that turmoil, how COVID-19 ravaged through our community, you would think that Republican leaders in the Capitol and across the nation would focus on solving these issues, on prioritizing people over politics. But instead, they pushed an extreme agenda designed to strip away our very rights to vote, our rights to employment benefits, even the sacred right of a woman's right to choose what to do with her own body. Finding ways to spread disinformation, politicizing our health care, and igniting violence and hatred and discrimination throughout the state and throughout the country. Yet in the midst of crisis and political division, I stepped up. Make no mistake, Lansing, you sent me to the Capitol to do a job, to be effective, and bring results back home to our community. And working alongside our governor, we passed bill after bill after bill to help families, to help students, to help businesses, not just survive, but thrive. We brought millions home to mid-Michigan. We fought so that men and women in this community could have a free pathway to a college degree or credential. In spite of everything they threw at us, we reached across the aisle to bring business support. Despite all that they did, we passed laws to help veterans and their families on their quest for good-paying jobs in Michigan. And we led the charge on civil rights legislation, addressing housing insecurity, and something as basic as the ability to wear your hair in a twist, a lock, a braid, without the fear of discrimination, termination, or expulsion. And not just passing bills, my team and I helped people, thousands of people, with their unemployment, facing eviction, making sure that they had food on the table, that they were able to not just survive, but thrive despite the pandemic. We do the work. The reality is that people are tired of politics as usual. Because quite honestly, politics as usual does not serve us. Partisan games and sound bites don't put food on the table, doesn't make college more affordable or keep our streets safe. Now, for someone like me, I know that my political journey is just a little bit different. But the reality is that every single movement that is people-focused, that is grassroots organized, is, in fact, a little different. And let's face it, the political system was not designed or built for people like you and me. But with every decision I've ever made, from the county commission to the state house, it has been you. It has been you who has driven me forward, helping me crack every single glass ceiling we faced, making history along the way. And just like so many strong women who came before me, I will not ask permission to lead, nor will I ask permission to serve. So instead of listening to the political pundits who think that a Senate seat like this will be bought, instead of folks who think that politics is only for the wealthy and well-connected, for folks like us, they're telling that we have to wait our time, wait our turn. Instead of listening to those who are betting that people in this community will not go to the polls and lift up their voices, I choose not to listen to them. I choose to listen to you. I choose to listen to the people. So today, I am asking for you not to believe in me. I'm inviting you to believe in us, to join a collective movement that's bigger than one candidate, that's bigger than one election, to tackle the most pressing issues of our time. I invite you to imagine a state that makes it possible for folks to work one job and be able to provide for their families and to retire with dignity. I invite you to support that. I invite you to imagine a neighborhood business that can keep alive and thrive. I invite you to imagine a world where we no longer have to fight for the very air we breathe and the water we drink, for a criminal justice system that truly works for everyone, despite your income, zip code, or skin color. Together, we will build a coalition as diverse as our community is, made up of auto workers and educators, farm workers and state employees, folks from every walk of life, every skin color, age, progressive, moderate, folks who are not political at all. I invite you to join us because we all deserve a seat at the table and a state that creates opportunity for everyone. Thank you. God bless you, and let's get to work. All right. Y'all ready to do this?